Smash, little man! Little man, leave Hulk alone! Hulk is strongest there is!
But not strong enough.
Hulk is strongest there is!
Ultron killed our parents. He's killing us. And you're scared of him. Ultron's just a stupid robot, and he can beat you up. And he said you were ugly. He said you were a big wimp, and that he was stronger than you.
Now ends the Avengers. Hulk is strongest there is!
Welcome back to Tiger Drop Films, and if this is your first time stopping by, then welcome. I'm happy you're here. For today I have a special video about the Incredible Hulk, who is my favorite Marvel superhero, and one who I believe has been severely underutilized and disrespected by the MCU. But what if I told you there was an era where the Incredible Hulk ruled Marvel? And I'm talking about the late 90s to early 2010s, where the Hulk was prominent in almost every Marvel animated feature, even ones that involved characters that do not directly relate to the Incredible Hulk. The Hulk is just that guy. He's the GOAT. He's so flexible as a character that he's able to intertwine with many different Marvel properties and still work as an imposing and heroic force. Now, I've adored the Incredible Hulk since I was a kid, from the Lou Ferrigno's incredible 70s show with Bill Bixby to the 90s cartoon and both live-action films, including many great Incredible Hulk video games, especially Ultimate Destruction, but I also love the 2003 game and the 2008 tie-in movie game as well. But there's something to be noticed that in the MCU, the Hulk just has not hit that same stride that I know he can hit. You know, I want Hulk to smash. I want the Hulk to proclaim he's the strongest one there is. But simply put, the MCU Hulk just does not hit that stride. He just doesn't feel incredible. Now, there's been a lot of discourse over the past couple of years about different YouTubers having their own video essays over the Incredible Hulk and the MCU and why there's so much missed potential. But I want to give you the Tiger Drop Films version of that discussion, and why I think that if you look at the certain time period of the Hulk having really great, incredible animated adaptations, especially in projects that were not completely featured around him in the late 90s to early 2010s, and I think the MCU could have easily looked at that and applied that to how they should have handled the Incredible Hulk, but they didn't. So today, let's look at some of the entries where I really believe they handled the Hulk with sincerity and respect in animated projects. Because in 2006, they released 2 animated films about the Ultimate Comics, specifically Ultimate Avengers. But in that first animated film, we have a great adaptation of the Incredible Hulk, where although he does help the Avengers in the final act, his rage consumes him and it turns out the Avengers have to fight him instead of the alien threat. These were also the years where the incredible voice actor Fred Tatasciore started to really get into the role of providing the voice for the Hulk. such as the Ultimate Avengers, where he kicks the ass of every Avenger in the film, and they're only narrowly able to defeat him with the help of Betty Ross. I mean, seriously, this film is different from the comic. It does deviate quite a little bit, but nonetheless, the animated adaptation is a great fight to behold, and one I'm sure every kid would love, especially if they're a Hulk fan. You know, it just invokes a sense of having your Hulk action figure beat the crap of every other Marvel hero, and I really love it, especially with how the fight isn't really easy for the Hulk, as he does have to overcome Iron Man and others, but it's just such a visceral fight that I can't help but love. And the fact that Betty Ross is involved makes it that much better. For the Hulk is a character that never had that feminine motherly love instilled in him since he lost his mother at such a young age, and that's where Betty Ross comes in. We see that in the 2003 Ang Lee Hulk film, and it still applies here in this Ultimate Avengers film, where Betty Ross is able to help subdue the Hulk so he can quit his rampage. The MCU barely tried to have this with Hulk's weird thing of Black Widow, but it just isn't the same. It's not Betty Ross. It's just so forced. It's not organic. And I don't care what anybody says about the universal rights of the Hulk and solo films, because if you look at the MCU, they developed characters such as the Scarlet Witch, Winter Soldier, and Falcon without even having to have their own solo films, so what's stopping them from giving the Hulk justice? In Ultimate Avengers 2, the film is more focused around Black Panther and defeating the aliens, but the Hulk does appear for a little bit, where he takes Betty Ross and they escape to find peace, which is fine. And then we get to the next Avengers, which is about, well, as the title suggests, the kids of the Avengers and how they're trying to defeat Ultron, but the fact that the Hulk is one of these surviving Avengers alongside Iron Man, Vision, and Thor is just so great. It's badass, and we get a really good old man Hulk that rips Ultron in half. But what I really love is that he's the one that helps the new Avengers save the day, and his roar is heard throughout the beginning of the final battle as all the robots turn to know that the Hulk is here to kick ass and smash. It's a simple role, but one I am glad they added, and it even ends with the Hulk jumping off into the desert with Betty. Then there are the two Hulk versus short films that are short and sweet, but really are badass, and I highly recommend you watch them. I remember grabbing these DVDs as a kid, and they're so hype. And in these two short films, one of them has Hulk fight Wolverine and 4 other mutants, and the other has Hulk fighting the mighty Thor, Loki, and other Asgardian characters, where the Hulk even ends up in hell with Hela. But these two short films keep the common theme of, while Wolverine and Thor can definitely, and I mean definitely, hold their own against Hulk, because I love those two characters a lot, but it shows that the Hulk is no slouch, and he can definitely put up a fight against these two icons. And remember, Wolverine even starred in a Hulk comic in the first place. That was his first appearance, mind you. But these two short films do a tremendous job illustrating why the Hulk is such a flexible character that he's able to barge into these other worlds in the Marvel universe. These other characters are just as large as life as the Hulk himself. And to make it where every character is respected, no one has to lose and make the other look better. It's kind of like the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. It's just iconic, but nobody has to look bad for the sake of the other looking good. There's no dumb power scaling nonsense. Instead, it's just what fans want at the end of the day. Think about it. What would happen if these different characters met? Well, that's why I think the Hulk vs. Wolverine and Hulk vs. Thor short films really succeed at doing. They're short, but they really show what would probably happen if these two iconic characters met, as in animation instead of a comic book. So I think they do a good job illustrating just the whole fun factor and seeing icons meet each other without the expense of one looking better or making the other look worse. I guess if I had to boil it down, it just translates to sincerity and respect. And while the MCU has definitely had sincerity and respect in the past, nowadays I feel like they're only showing comic accurate looking stuff just to have it for fan service instead of understanding why it works in the first place. That sort of genuine creativity that I think has been lost in these live action films and shows. Which brings me to my next point with Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Obviously an Avengers show, but one that keeps the Incredible Hulk and Bruce Banner as part of the main team instead of trying to get rid of them. And I honestly think that the Earth's Mightiest Heroes show is on par, or should I say the Marvel equivalent, to the iconic DC Anime Universe Justice League TV shows. I mean, really, it's just that good. It's vibrant and sincere, while making adjustments, and it's understanding why the comics were cool in the first place. And this is a show that really has the Hulk grow and develop alongside Bruce Banner, where they have a mutual understanding of each other that develops. And I really love the dynamic the Hulk has of Hawkeye, because of all people, Hawkeye is just a normal guy. But Hulk and Hawkeye really seem to have a brotherly bond that I really adore, and it was always fun watching as a kid. And looking back at it years later in my 20s, I still really like it. Especially the episodes where the leader tries to take over the Earth of Gamma monsters, and it's up to Hulk and Hawkeye to team up. It's great stuff, man. And I'll never forget as a kid reading the arc where we're trying to figure out who the Red Hulk was. I would buy every issue every month, man. It was dope. But then the Earth of Mightiest Heroes show adapted Red Hulk, and it blew my mind as a kid. Great stuff. And lastly, for this video, I'd like to touch upon the very awesome film Planet Hulk, the adaptation of the comics of the same name. And I rewatched this recently, and man, did it hold up. The Hulk was treated with respect, and it really showed his power levels in a really genuine way. That it also showed how, even though we love these superpowered characters, when we put them in a new setting, it's okay to see them lose a little bit if it means they bounce back even harder. And that's why I think the Planet Hulk film really accomplishes, especially in the Beta Ray Bill fight, which is so badass. Nonetheless, Planet Hulk is the film where we just see the Hulk, no Banner. But if you look at the dialogue in the film, you can infer that they really are the same being, especially in the final moments where the Hulk details that for his entire life he's been nothing but a monster running from fight to fight. But now that he's helped defeat the Red King and free the people of Scar, he can just rest. And I think that's a really pivotal moment for the character. It's a bit introspective, but it's really nice to see the Hulk just speak for himself as he becomes the Green Scar. And later on we know he'd become the World Breaker, but that's a story for another time. So at the end of the day, I believe Planet Hulk is a really great Hulk film. A solid adaptation, and one that portrays the character with respect that we really wanted to see in Thor Ragnarok, but we just didn't get. And that applies to the MCU as a whole. The Hulk is a pivotal character that people love. There's nothing wrong with him being a powerhouse, because you can always work around a powerhouse. It just takes creativity and ingenuity. And so this is why I think this animated era of the Hulk did him so much justice, and so why they always ring in the back of my mind whenever I think about the Incredible Hulk, and the missed potential he's had in the recent live-action MCU films and shows alike. Because the Incredible Hulk is iconic. He had a great 70s TV show, another great 90s cartoon, and several great animated adaptations with pretty solid video games. And I just think it's such a shame that the MCU skimped out on such a pivotal character with so much dynamic to him. I mean, they didn't even bother showing the gray Joe Fixit Hulk, or even a proper Professor Hulk, or even the Devil Hulk or Guilt Hulk. You know what I mean. There's so much missed potential for a character with so much depth. And as we saw with Moon Knight and She-Hulk and other iconic Marvel characters in the MCU from recent years, they're just not going to do them justice. And I think the MCU Hulk was an early red herring that they just weren't really going to commit to showing what these characters are truly capable of. And I truly believe that the Hulk is the strongest there is, not just because of his physical might, but from his stories that are really touching. And if Ang Lee's Hulk film showed anything, it's that the character can absolutely be done justice. And even the Ultimate Destruction game shows that. The Hulk is a character full of death and a plethora of human emotions. And in this day and age, I feel like we could really benefit from that kind of Hulk story on screen. And so the MCU should definitely take notes from versions of the character that was already hitting that stride that we need to see. And if you don't believe me, then well, don't you think the kids deserve to see the big green guy kick ass? I implore you to check out these animated adaptations I mentioned in today's video. Really, they are absolutely worth the watch. And there's been many other small appearances from the Hulk and the likes of Iron Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four TV shows alike that I didn't even cover. So there's more for you to check out than meets the eye. But I've been Tiger Drop Films, and I thank you for watching today. And I hope we get to see the Hulk truly smash again.
Huh, your mom must have been a town bike.
I can tell, buddy.